I'm Tom Cooper, Executive Director of Sandestin Owners Association, and you're watching Tom Talks. On today's episode of Tom Talks, we're going to revisit briefly, if you will, the ARB process. We did a manager's moment back in June of 2021. You can revisit that. For more information, it's on the website under Manager's Moment, so you can go and review the ARB process, the full-blown version, if you will. But just to start it all off, the the ARB, if you're not aware, the ARB is a standing committee of the SOA as defined in the declaration. It's comprised of a minimum of 5 homeowner members of Sandestin. These are your peers. They're homeowners. They're not SOA staff. They are homeowners just like you, and they're appointed by the board of directors, and they have all of the duties and the function as described in the declaration. Now, there are 2 paid persons on the ARB. There are the consulting architects. One is structural and one is for landscaping, and the landscaping architect also reviews drainage plans. And it's important to know also that if either one of these consultants have a submittal before the ARB, they do not review their own submittal. We contract another architect or another structural or landscape architect to review those. So there's no chance of conflict there on their reviews. So the big question we get is, when or why do I need to submit to the ARB, and what for? Well, keep in mind that Sandestin is a common interest community subject to rules, regulations, declarations, or other guidelines, and the ARB does have a guideline to guide you through what needs to be done in the processes to get your project approved. And if you have any questions of whether or not what you're doing needs approval or not, you can simply call our office, the ARB office, and speak with Darlene or Anissa, or even Josh, our compliance officer, and they'll be glad to let you know if you should or shouldn't submit for your project. There are many types of submissions that we see here in the office. It's modifications to your landscape or hardscape, modifications to any type of exterior of your home. This includes painting, gutters, patio additions, fire pits, extensions to the structure, lighting. Right now, lighting is a big hot topic. The brightness of the lights are getting brighter with the advent of LEDs. So we try to keep those to a minimum. And cafe lights. Cafe lights were a thing up and coming, and they've kind of slid off a little bit now, but those still need approval if you want to put cafe lights up over your back deck. All new home construction is required to be submitted to the ARB for approval. Once you get those plans approved, that's the standing approval. If you make any changes to those plans, if your contractor makes any changes to those plans, those modifications need to be reviewed by the ARB to make sure they're still within the guidelines. Yard art is a thing, believe it or not. Banners, fountains, pergolas, flower pots, statues. That's just a few, but anything decorative in your yard is considered yard art. We could go into probably an hour discussion on yard art. We're not going to do that here, but just keep that in mind. So when you submit, You will submit your plans to the ARB for whatever they are, modification, new construction, landscaping, whatever that is. That submittal will go to the ARB, and then the packet is reviewed to make sure it's got everything that is supposed to be submitted, and then it's reviewed by the architectural consultants, either the landscape or the structural consultants. If there's no exceptions or there's no problems with your submittal, it'll pass tech review, and then it'll be sent out for review by your homeowners association. Now, some HOAs have a ARC, if you will, Architectural Review Committee. Some don't. Some refer back to the SOA. But nonetheless, there's 14-day response period that we have to hear back from your neighborhood, and if we don't, if we do or we don't, in 14 days, it goes over to the ARB board itself, the Architectural Review Board, for their review. And then if they approve it, the ARB will send a decision letter back to you via email, usually pretty quickly, but no later than 10 days. Now, if your submittal does not pass tech review, it will be sent back to you or your contractor to resolve the issues that tech review has discovered, and then the process starts all over again. So if you have a submittal and it gets sent back to you, to get your process moving forward quickly, we need to get that back from you just as quick as possible. One thing that is very important to the SOA is tree removal. You have to have approval to remove trees. It's not difficult. And, sometimes depending on your neighborhood, specifically if it's a condo association, will need to approve those trees to be removed. But, or if your neighborhood has common area within your parcel, then the association will need to approve it. But we need to know what trees you're taking out, because there's tree canopy requirements and some other things in the ARB guidelines related to trees. So we want to make sure that we're keeping the integrity of those guidelines intact. Sometimes they can be field approved. If it's a pine tree in your backyard that's uprooting your patio, Josh can come out, take a look at that, and field approve it. If Josh has any questions, he's going to turn it over to tech review, or if he has concerns, he'll turn it over to tech review and possibly go before the ARB for their approval. So some folks believe they don't need approval for trees. Unfortunately, you do need approval to remove trees from your yard. We understand the plight of storms, especially lately, and their impact on tree canopies and tree limbs and uprooting of trees, and we certainly don't want to prohibit you from securing your property. But we just ask for a courtesy call and let us know what you're doing so we can get with you on the process. So that's the 10,000 foot revisit of the SOA ARB and a little bit about the submission process. And we hope you find this interesting. And again, if you have any topics that you would like for us to speak to, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Look forward to hearing the next question that comes in, and hopefully we can get that answered too. So until then, have a great day.